Today is January 3rd, 2021. My name is Charles Suter, and this is my first presentation of the new year, and appropriately so during this pandemic that we're still in the midst of, how to end worry. My main message is that worry is an unnecessary emotion. Worry without appropriate action causes worthless mental distress. If your future threat is undesirable and has a reasonable chance of happening, then shift from worrying to actions of prevention and or mitigation. Let me draw your attention to what I call the worry decision matrix here. On the vertical axis is the consequences or simplification. Even though it's a continuum of consequences, I've divided it between low and high. And on the horizontal axis here is the probability of occurrence. Again, I divided it between low and high, even though it's a continuum. And each of these four quadrants gives you something to do. If the object, the adverse event that you're worried about has low consequences and low probability, well, there's enough of those in life. In fact, that's what life is all about. Don't worry about it. Just keep plugging ahead. However, if the consequence is high, or if the occurrence is high, then you'll want to take some appropriate action. The worst case type of adverse event is probably something that's going to have high consequence and is likely going to occur. Probably going to need to take more action here, not necessarily more worry. Let me get into the first step of how to end worry. Define your worry completely. Describe your worry. Again, worry is some future adverse event, and give it a name or a title. Maybe during this pandemic, business is slow, you're worried about you losing your job. So title it job loss. Estimate its chance of actually happening to you. Estimate the worst case scenario if the adverse event actually happens. Now you know exactly which one of these this matrix, each one of these quadrants that you fall into. Do your homework and investigate the causes of any worrisome event. How likely is this adversity to occur, and how severely is it going to impact your life if it does occur? Now be objective and realistic without exaggeration in your estimates. If you don't know, ask experts and solicit opinions from your friends. Second step. Once you know what quadrant your concern or worry falls in, decide whether to take action or stop worrying. If your problem falls into quadrant 1, stop worrying. End of story. If it falls into either 3, 2, 3, or 4, then you know you need to take some type of action. If you decide that action is necessary, then stop worrying and take the action. If there is both a low likelihood of occurrence and low consequences if the adverse event happens, then take no interventions, take no actions, and just stop worrying. Regardless of which quadrant of the matrix you pick, you either take action and stop worrying, or you take no action and stop worrying. In all cases, you stop worrying. You either stop worrying because there's no credible threat, or you are taking appropriate action. Let's go to step number 3 to ending worry. If you're in quadrants 2, 3, or 4, do everything you can to prevent or mitigate the source of your worry. Define what you can do to either prevent or mitigate the worrisome event. You always have some control over future events that may cause you duress in the future. So do everything you can to either prevent the onset of adversity or to mitigate the impact of the adverse event, or both. Continue these prevention mitigation actions until the threat is reduced to quadrant 1, and then stop worrying, because now you're in a situation where the consequence is low and the likelihood of the adverse event occurring is low. You don't need to worry if you are taking appropriate action according to the worry decision matrix. This matrix suggests that you take action only if the likelihood and consequences, or both, are high. That's quadrants 2, 3, and 4. Most of your worries, when examined thoughtfully and logically, will have both a low probability of occurrence and a low impact if it occurs. Most worries will fall into quadrant 1, which suggests that you need not take any action nor worry. My final message: don't worry. Or if you have a threat that lies in quadrants 2, 3, or 4, then take action. And when you're taking action, then there's no need to worry. Instead of worrying, take action to mitigate or prevent any future events that concerns you. If you can prevent adversity, then take action to do so. If you can reduce the harm that an adverse event could have on you, then take action to do so. Under no circumstances is worrying helpful, so don't worry. A worrisome event either prods you into action or it doesn't. Once you decide, you can stop worrying. That's all for now. Remember to stay positive. You'll be happier, healthier, and live longer.